Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the St. Louis County Board of Zoning Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Janet Herman, Chairman, and Angelia Bills, Member. The Department of Planning staff members are Debbie Nesbitt and Mel Wilson. First, I offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, June 17th, 2020. The board hereby takes official notice of and admits into evidence on the record the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance, Chapter 1003, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended, and Chapter 1004, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended. Next, I will call for a motion to approve the minutes of the previous BZA meeting of June 3rd, 2020. Angelia?
So moved. I'm sorry, I was on mute. So moved.
Okay, and I will second. The hearing procedure is informal, but is a teleconference and is recorded. The planning staff will read each request into the record. The petitioner will be unmuted, state their name, and make a brief presentation to the board explaining the reason and hardships for the requested variance. The board will not consider financial hardships. Board members may ask questions to clarify the facts. When the board is satisfied with the material presented, the chairperson will then ask if there is anyone in favor or opposition to the request. To do so, click the hand next to your name. If any comments were submitted, staff will read them into the record. Before I call for the vote, the petitioner may request a continuance in order to bring in additional documentation. The board may also request a continuance to gather additional information or for a visit to the site. Once all comments have been heard, the chairperson will call for a vote. At that time, the discussion has ended and no further discussion is permitted. The board will generally make a decision today, but since there are only 2 members at this time, if the board's vote is split 1-1, the request will be deemed held until a 3rd member is appointed. If a variance is approved, the petitioner has 6 months from the end of the state of emergency to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use requested, or the variance will expire. The petitioner or any interested party has the right of appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. This must be done within 30 days of the decision. If the paperwork indicating the board's decision will be mailed to the petitioners probably tomorrow. Okay. Any questions? I don't know. Is anybody on with us?
Yeah, everyone's here now. We'll start with 64-20 James Marr, requests an exception to the rear yard regulations for the purpose of replacing an existing deck at 136 Worthington Circle, maintaining a rear yard of 7 feet in lieu of 15 feet as required by the R6A Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and PEU Ordinance 20,203. Okay, Jim and Terry, you're unmuted to give your presentation now.
Yes,
Okay.
we're here. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present our exception, and thanks to the 2 Debbies for all your help in recent weeks over gathering information. When I bought this property in 2013, there's an existing deck, 4 foot by 10 foot officially. It's probably more effectively like 3 by 10 because of the posts. So it's more like a fire escape down to a patio. Well, it's deteriorating, and the condo association has now written us up to get it repaired or replaced. And so we want to go ahead and replace it. And now that we're investing that money in the deck, we thought, well, we'd really like to make it, as you can see, oh yeah, good, you're showing the pictures there. You can see that it's really more of a fire escape. And our hope is to, and then, right, and we learned that the variance was 15 feet. And actually, I guess the builders built this at 15.6 feet from the fence.
So there's no room for anything.
I mean, the actual, right, the actual building. So we're requesting that we get the variance to 7 feet to enable us to put in an 8 by 10 functional deck. As it is right now, if you put a chair on there, you can't even get around the chair safely. So that is our hardship, is the usability of the existing deck.
And like you were saying, that when you bought it, you were just, that's how it was, and you were going to live with it until we found out that the variance was actually 15 feet. And
right.
Now that we got to get it fixed. Yeah.
Yep. So that's our situation.
Okay. So you really like to enlarge the deck so that you could use it, it's a little more usable.
Correct, and it will be even, as you can see, the patio actually comes out 8 feet, but I understand patios don't have to abide by the variances, but it would be out to where that patio is. That's the 8 foot. So visually you can see where it would be at that distance.
Oh, equal to the concrete there.
Correct, yes.
And then what's on the other side of the fence? It looks like is it the garage of the?
On the left side,
She's so
oh,
cute
the other
over
side
here.
of the fence is another condo community. That is their garage, correct?
Garage. I can only see the top of it. Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Do you, Angelia?
I don't have any other questions either.
Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition? And if so, you can hit the hand by your name.
I don't see any.
Okay. 64-20, I'm going to vote to approve the variance as advertised. The hardship being that the petitioners would like the deck to be a little more usable. It's hardly, don't think you could get a chair out there right now. And it's only backing up to the side of the other neighbor's garage.
I second it.
Okay, so Debbie will mail you your paperwork.
All right, well,
Right.
thank you very
so
much.
much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next is 65-20 Sally Haywood and Edward Stevens request an exception to the front yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a deck at 870 Hillsborough Road, maintaining a front yard of 20 feet in lieu of 50 feet as required by the NU non-urban district regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance. Sally, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Hi, my partner and I, Edward Stevens, bought this home, and it's there is evidence that it had a deck in the past. There are doors from the dining room and the kitchen that go to nothing. And the home itself, there's Ed pretending to step off of out of the dining room into the non-existent deck. And in the bottom right, there are some evidence of former footings. But when we acquired the home, and the bank owned foreclosure, so there were no disclosure statements of what had changed or when, we had said we very much would like to add a deck. The house is 41 feet. It's on an angle on the lot. So the tip of the house is 41 feet, but it's a very steep hill. I had shared with Ms. Nesbitt a copy of our steep driveway. So our hope is we would build a deck that is 13 by 18, which would make the tip of the deck where that arrow is about 27 feet from the road. We own almost 2 acres of property, so our nearest neighbors are on the outer edge, outside of that. And then that steep road driveway keeps us away from the road.
Well, is that Hillsborough Road, is that traveled very much, or is that more a neighborhood road, or?
It seems it's very wooded and twisty and curvy, but it is an access point to a couple subdivisions. The whole area is very wooded.
Okay. Looks like house was put on the lot kind of strangely, but kind of a funny angle.
I think it might have been to optimize views of sunset because that picture where Ed was standing, it is the optimal view of sunset across the bluff.
Okay. Thank you for describing that.
The house was built in '91, so I don't know how in that big 2-acre lot, why they put it there, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been possibly to access the garage easier without being on a slope, by putting it on an angle.
Yes, the top of that driveway does
flatten out
so that you can make, a good full turn and park a few cars. That might have been the rationale.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Angelia, do you have?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Is there anyone on this website in favor or opposition to this? And if so, you can hit the hand next to your name.
We don't have any.
Okay. Hearing none, I vote to approve the variance as advertised and the hardship just being the topography of the land.
I'll second. So Debbie will send you your paperwork.
Thank you, committee. Thank you, Ms. Nesbitt.
Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
goodbye.
Next is 66-20, Stanley Williams, requests an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a room addition and an aluminum ramp at 1435 Cove Lane, maintaining a side yard of 5 feet in lieu of 6 feet for the addition and a side yard of 0 feet in lieu of 6 feet for the ramp, as required by the R4 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance. You're unmuted now.
Okay, hi, Mike Andrews here for Stanley Williams. Mr. Williams is a United States veteran, and we were contracted through the VA to do what they call specialty adaptive housing grant. And through that, they can do this addition.
I'm not understanding you very clearly.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So, Mr. Williams received this grant through the VA, and we are a contractor through the VA. And this is going to allow him to have a ADA compliant bathroom in his home. He is in a wheelchair, and in doing this addition, the VA requires a second exit out of that addition, which is his bedroom. So the ramp will come off of that, off the rear of the home, and come around to that side yard out to the front. And it allows him to get out of the home in case of fire. So the addition is going to give him an ADA compliant bathroom with the radiuses that are needed for him in his wheelchair.
Oh, Mel, could we go back to that picture a second, please?
That's the side yard of the home with the ramp will be coming down the house along the wall.
And then where in my notes here, I don't see where you were going to put, so you wanted to, that side there,
Correct.
somewhere between the house and the driveway?
Correct. It'll come straight down the side.
And what were you asking for 5 feet in lieu of 10 feet?
Correct. This will be a bariatric ramp because it'll be 4 feet wide, a little over 4 feet with the handrail. It's an aluminum ramp. It's a modular ramp. It can be taken down later on. It's kind of like an erector set. They come apart, they're screwed together. So him being able to come out and down the side of the house, it needs to be wide enough for him to do that. So like I said, it's a bariatric, so it's 4 feet wide.
Because he's disabled, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Why come around the side instead of the front?
I believe there's a ramp already in front of the house, but the VA requires 2 means of egress. So the one being the front of the home, the second being the rear of the home, this addition is going to be.
Okay. I didn't know that. Angelia, do you have any other questions?
I don't.
All right. Can you hear me all right? Because there's a lot of noise in the background. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition? And if so, click the hand next to your name.
Mike has indicated he's in favor.
Okay. Now I lost the number.
This one's 66. Yeah.
Okay. 6-20, I'm going to vote to approve the variance as advertised, and the hardship being the homeowner is a disabled veteran, and the excuse me, VA requires 2 ramps. One is in the front, one in the rear. Angelia?
Can you hear me?
No, I can't. Did you say something?
Okay. I second it,
Okay.
due to, accessibility.
So the paperwork will be sent to Mr. Williams.
Okay.
Next is 67-20 Ali Al Rubai requested exception to the regulations that govern the enlargement, extension, construction, reconstruction, or structural alteration of a non-conforming use, land, or structure, and the front yard and sign regulations for the purpose of replacing a freestanding sign and wall signage at 9365 South Broadway, maintaining a wall sign of 30 square feet in lieu of 29.25 square feet, and a front yard of 0 feet in lieu of 15 feet, as required by the C2 Shopping District Regulations, Section 1003.168 Sign Regulations, and Section 1003.170 Non-conforming Uses, Lands, and Structures of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance. Anita, you can go ahead and make your presentation.
Okay, hi, how are you doing today? We're asking to, there's a non-conforming use due to a car lot. There's a car lot there before. What my dudes purchased the car lot and they're just changing the signage out and the existing cans besides the channel letter sign will be new. I think there's a box sign up there now and that'll come down.
So we're looking at the one,
Go back.
the pole sign that was just up a second ago.
Yes, that one.
That would come down?
No, that would stay. That's just gonna have a panel change. Everything's existing. It's just a panel change.
Okay. And then are we talking about anything else, like
And
signage?
then we're on the front of the building here. There should be another picture on the front of the building. There'll be a sign that says Auto Plaza.
Okay, and
There should be a picture of it.
I'm looking at a picture on my phone, so, okay,
I
so,
think that picture of the sign made it into the presentation.
mhm. Okay, so that pole sign there, that would just be, keeping the
Said
pole
new
exactly
paint.
where it was, you're gonna put new signage on it, and then a sign on the building.
Yes.
But,
And the other sign will come off here, the one that's on where the little green awning is. That'll have to come off, because I think that's what's kicking us over that half a foot or whatever. But she
okay.
said we can't have it anyway, because it counts as two signs. So that would come off anyway.
Okay, so the green,
Yeah, there's like words up there originally. I don't know if you have the old one. Originally, we had that on there.
okay. Angelia, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, is there anyone in favor or opposition to this petition? And if so, click the hand by your name, please.
There is no one.
Okay,
Okay, hearing none, 67-20, I vote to approve the variance as advertised, and the hardship just being the need to label and brand a new business.
I will second. All right, and your paperwork will be mailed to Mr. Oops, I lost his name. Yeah, on the wrong thing. Well, to the petitioner.
Yeah, that's a different name. I'm not sure how you say it either. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Next is 68-20 Joe and Sally Cool request an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a 20-foot by 18-foot detached garage at 1447 Floridel Drive, maintaining a side yard of 5 feet in lieu of 8 feet as required by the R3 Residence District Regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance. Joe, you can go ahead and make your presentation.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your time and want to thank Ms. Nesbitt for her help with this. Building the garage, we just want it to be aesthetically pleasing in the neighborhood with so many new homes being built. I mean, higher end homes. We didn't want to hide a third or so of the garage behind the house after talking to the neighbors and asking for the 5 foot instead of 8 foot. It still keeps us 21 feet from the next door neighbor's house. Okay. That's it, short.
Oops. Oh, there's a picture. So, well,
Yeah, at the end of the drive, it's a fence. Right now, we have a fenced-in yard, and the steps to the left of the neighbor is the neighbor's deck off the back of his house.
So that's gonna pretty much block you're talking about a garage at the end there?
At the end, yes.
That's pretty, but you already have how many garages?
We have one, an attached.
Just one car? But,
No, one garage. It is a 2-car garage.
okay. Well, why would you need a third, garage, separate garage?
Riding lawnmower, snow thrower, power washer, push mower, 3 cars.
Ju-
A neighbor, and he was fine with it before we even proceeded.
They
We
were?
don't want to put a freestanding building like a tough shed there because it just looks terrible. And with some of the homes in the neighborhood being built at $700,000 and up,
What, it looks to me like it's gonna block the neighbor's view completely.
view of what?
View of anything they want to.
Off his deck. Well, that's why we talked to him before I even applied for this.
I mean, that's why you have a deck, so you can sit out and,
We don't. Yeah. Well, again, that's why we talked to him before we even started this, because if he was objected to it, we wouldn't have even started.
I do have a question. So, are you adding a third bay to your garage, or are you just having a totally different structure?
It's a freestanding building, 18-foot wide by 20-foot deep.
Okay.
No, I know we're supposed to be 8 feet. We're just asking to go 3 feet closer to the property line.
Okay.
And again, we talked to the neighbors first because we get along great with them. We wouldn't want a problem. And he says, no problem with him.
Okay. And do we have a letter from the neighbor as well?
Well, I can get it if you'd like it. I didn't know I needed it.
Okay.
okay. Anjali, do you have any other questions?
Well, that was all.
Pardon me?
No, I don't have any other questions.
Is there anyone in favor or opposition to this petition?
There's no one.
There isn't, okay. 68-20, I'll approve the variance as advertised.
Okay, and I will second it because it seems like the neighbor is in compliance. He's okay with it, so I'll second that.
I don't feel that there's much of a hardship, but
Probably additional storage, more storage
okay.
in the property, yeah.
Okay, well, Debbie will send you your paperwork.
I appreciate all your time. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's the last one, correct?
That's the last one.
Okay, meeting adjourned.